Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. Today's video comes to us from West Des Moines Police Department in Iowa, and today we're going to cover solicitation, suspicion, and detention. So let's dive right in and audit the interaction.
Hi, sir. Yes, I'm Officer at the West Des Moines Police Department. The reason why I'm talking to you today is someone called in about you. Are you just handing out flyers?
Officer Ray has been called to make contact with a suspicious person in the 5600 block of West Des Moines, where he finds 24-year-old Keelan Hill resting on a sidewalk. It is important to note that the caller reported Mr. Hill as being suspicious because he was wearing a hat and jacket on what was considered a warm day in Iowa. It's also important to note that the high temperature for that day was 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Officer Ray notices the flyers in Mr. Hill's lap and attempts to determine his business in the area.
What am I doing wrong?
I didn't know. People were concerned.
Yeah, concerned for what?
Their neighborhoods.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, Ricky.
So it's not a big deal.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to figure out what we were concerned about.
Well, in West Des Moines, we have a soliciting ordinance, so if you're knocking on people's doors...
The city of West Des Moines defines a solicitor as any person who intends to make personal contact in an attempt to solicit monies or orders for goods, services, subscriptions, or merchandise to be delivered immediately or at a future date. It is later revealed that Mr. Hill was distributing campaign flyers for then U.S. Representative David Young. Mr. Hill is not in violation of the Des Moines Solicitation Ordinance and appears to be knowledgeable about what constitutes solicitation.
Yeah, soliciting is what? Offering services.
Yeah.
I'm not offering a service.
Okay.
Okay, so with that being said, I'd like you to leave me alone, sir. I've not broken any laws.
Well, I'm still doing an investigation because if you're recording me, I'm still recording too, so it's okay.
Investigating what, sir?
A suspicious person. They called in about you.
Okay.
Do you have an ID with you?
No, I don't.
Do you have your name? Have your name?
No. Am I under arrest?
No.
Okay.
Officer Ray has established that Mr. Hill is not soliciting and has business in the area and has no reason to suspect that Mr. Hill has committed a crime. Officer Ray's investigation should have ended there. At this point, Mr. Hill's interaction with Officer Ray is entirely consensual, and Mr. Hill has no legal obligation to continue to speak with the officer. And bear in mind that this entire interaction is solely based on the fact that Mr. Hill is wearing a hat and jacket.
Well, I'm investigating.
If I'm not under arrest, then you have no reason to be talking to me, right?
I can. Actually, yes. You're a suspicious person. Someone called in about...
Suspicious how?
A neighbor called over here, so I don't understand why you're being difficult about this.
I'm not being difficult about anything, because I haven't done anything out of the way.
Okay.
So with that being said, I'll go about my business.
Okay, I'm not done with you yet. You're not free to go.
Have I done it? Have I broken any laws?
4255. Can you send me one this way, please? He's
Have I broken any laws, sir?
I'm talking to you. I'm not done. I'm investigating a suspicious person.
You have a nice day, sir.
Stop. Stop now.
For what?
I can detain you.
Mr. Hill makes an attempt to exit the conversation when Officer Ray announces that he is unlawfully detaining him. In order for Officer Ray to detain Mr. Hill, he must be able to articulate a crime that Mr. Hill has committed. The state of Iowa is not a stop and identify state, meaning that Officer Ray cannot lawfully command Mr. Hill to produce identification if no crime has been committed.
Stop.
For what?
Because you're not listening. I'm investigating a suspicious person. Stop
sir,
now.
Sir, have I broken any laws?
Stop.
Tell me what laws I've broken.
I told you to stop.
I don't have to stop.
Yes.
No, I don't. Either arrest me, tell me what laws I've broken,
Can you
or get away from me.
step it up? He's being uncooperative and trying to walk away from me. He won't identify himself as a suspicious person I'm investigating.
I know my rights. And with that being said, if I've not broken any laws, you have no reason to detain me.
Stop.
So I'm going to ask you one more time.
I'm going to tell you to stop.
For what?
Because I'm talking to you and you're...
What have I done that's wrong?
I just told you I'm investigating who you are.
You're harassing me.
5700 block of Aspen. Stop. I'm telling you to stop, and I'm not going to tell you again.
And what will you do if I don't stop?
I will detain you.
Detain me for what?
You're not listening.
Not listening to an officer is not a crime if you have not already committed a crime or are about to commit a crime. In this instance, Officer Ray is not issuing lawful orders and cannot detain Mr. Hill simply because someone in the neighborhood finds him suspicious.
I'm doing an investigation of a suspicious person.
Suspicious person? Have I broken any laws?
It doesn't. That's not the point.
Any laws?
Someone called you, and it's a suspicious person.
Okay, and you can be a suspicious person, Mr.
Really?
Ray.
Really?
I feel like you're a suspicious person.
How would I be suspicious?
Here, Mr. Hill ever so eloquently demonstrates the flawed logic which Officer Ray is operating under, and it flies right over the officer's head. You are not suspicious simply because it is someone's opinion that you are suspicious. If that were the case, then anyone could call the police on anyone for anything whatsoever.
You look suspicious to me.
Okay, how would that be? I'm in a marked
You're
police
a white
car.
man. You're suspicious to me.
I'm suspicious to you because I'm a white person?
Yeah, with a gun. You're suspicious to me.
No,
now
stop.
Get away from me.
If you are ever unlawfully detained, it is a good idea to obey the officer's orders at the time. Your battle against unlawful actions taken by the police should be waged in the courtroom, not in the streets. Slow down, calm your mind, and approach the situation with a measured cadence. Not only will it help you later in the courtroom, but it could prevent further misconduct or even save your life. Avoid becoming enraged and conduct yourself in a collected, poised, and civilized manner, but do not surrender to the intimidation of any government official.
I haven't done anything out of the way. You can't arrest me. Arrest me right now if you want to.
Here, turn around, put your hand back.
For what?
Because you're not. Stop. Turn around.
What have I done wrong?
Because you're not listening to me.
What have I done wrong, sir?
Get the phone out of my face. Because you're not. I'm investigating a suspicious person.
Sir, what have I done wrong? I'm not suspicious. I haven't done anything. I'm walking up the street. I haven't done anything wrong. I don't have any.
Neighbors have called on you.
Sir, I don't care if anyone has called on me. This is not their area. This is
a public roadway, so this means...
Okay. It's a public roadway. That means that I have the right to be on this roadway. Yes or no?
Everybody has the right to be on the public roadway.
So I am not a suspicious
But you don't have a right to be on anybody else's property or curtilage.
I'm not on anybody's property.
Why would someone call it in?
That's their concern.
So they're concerned.
Hello, listen, I'm recording right now because this police officer just walked up on me saying I'm a suspicious person and he was going to detain me for whatever reason.
Because you're not listening.
Listen, sir, I don't know how y'all do things here, but I'm...
Where are you from?
Record it, so could you please get off the phone while I'm trying to record? Thank you.
Okay, call your mom.
Sir, listen to me. Listen to me. I work for somebody that will have... Look, listen to me. I work for somebody who will get on your mother ass. So I'm going to ask you one more time.
Okay, actually using obscenities in front of public people is a crime.
Here is probably the only point in the video where Officer Ray is correct about anything. Disorderly conduct is a highly subjective law that varies in its discrepancies and intensities from state to state and municipality to municipality. Iowa Code 723.4 states that anything that is said that is likely to provoke a violent reaction can be considered disorderly conduct. Officer Ray could interpret Mr. Hill's vulgarities as a threat or a form of verbal abuse and arrest him. Remember to remain calm. Officers are usually looking for a reason to arrest you. Don't give them one.
Listen to me. I'm going to tell you one more time.
I don't care who you work for.
You don't care who I work for. The person I work for pays you. So I'm going to tell you one more time to get away from me. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Get away from me.
Yeah. He's still walking away from me, being uncooperative and refusing to identify himself.
I don't have to do anything. I don't have to identify myself to you. I don't have to do anything. If I have not broken any laws, I don't have to.
Westbound, we were 58th and Aspen.
Again, I ask you to leave me alone. If I've not broken a law, you have no reason to detain me. If you had a reason to detain me, you would have detained me already.
I can, actually. Yes, I can.
For what?
Because you're not listening to my directions. You're not following. Turn around right now.
Sir.
Turn around. I'm done.
So you're going to arrest me?
I'm detaining you.
For what? For what?
Be resistive.
For what? For what?
Because you're not listening to what I'm saying. Do not be resistive towards me.
All right.
Walk back to my car.
All right. You've done it.
I'm detained.
You have done it.
Yep.
You're a fool. You are a real fool, sir. And could you tell me what I am handcuffed for?
Yes, because you wouldn't follow my directives.
Again, Officer Ray has not issued any lawful orders here because no crime has been committed, and this is an unlawful detention.
Your directives, and what were your directives?
I told you to stop numerous times.
And I asked you for what?
And I asked you to identify yourself because I'm investigating a suspicious person. Someone had worry.
Worried about what? Have I tried to enter anyone's property?
They were concerned, so yes, you're gonna.
Okay. No, I have not. Show me evidence where I've entered someone's property without them knowing. Show me evidence.
There was 2 calls on you about entering people's areas of their house.
No, there weren't.
No, there weren't. According to the Des Moines Register, the local paper that acquired the department's call log, there was only 1 caller, and they only reported him as suspicious because of his attire. Whether this was a miscommunication between Officer Ray and the dispatch or simply a fabricated statement, it still does not justify the detention of Mr. Hill. If anything, it is a testament to the fact that the West Des Moines Police Department should have a more strenuous vetting process to their calls rather than relaying fractured information to officers and investigating citizens for not wearing the proper attire for the weather.
Listen to me, sir. I can tell you for sure I have not done anything wrong. I have not broken any laws. So if I suggest you let me out of these handcuffs immediately.
Well,
Sir,
when
could you tell him to take me out of these handcuffs? I have not broken any laws.
Okay, did you stop when he told you to?
No, he kept walking
Okay,
away.
then that's interference.
That is not interference or obstruction of justice. In order for interference of an investigation to take place, an articulable crime must have been committed. No crime has been committed here. Mr. Hill also maintains a Fifth Amendment right to silence. He is under no legal obligation to aid Officer Ray in his investigation.
So you're under arrest. Have a seat.
Interfering for what?
Interference. You disobeyed the lawful order.
You were sitting right there and I told you to stop 4 or 5 times to identify yourself because there was a suspicious
Sir.
person car, and I'm investigating that.
Investigating what? I have not done anything.
Okay.
You can't just run up on anyone and just say, hey, you look suspicious.
Okay, he told you to stop. He didn't.
And we had calls on you like I told you.
You're practicing stop and frisk right now. I've not
No.
done
No, you're
anything
under
wrong.
arrest. So.
Under arrest for what? Under arrest for what? What have I done wrong? Tell me now.
You didn't identify yourself.
Okay.
You didn't stop when we asked you to.
Okay.
Okay, this is what I'm asking. That's all I'm asking for is your name and date of birth, man.
All right. Okay.
So I can log someone.
Okay.
So what's the issue here, man?
There isn't an issue. I
Sit
haven't
back
done
here.
anything wrong.
Sit back here.
I have not done a thing.
Why would you not listen to me?
Because I have not done anything wrong, sir. Could you let me out of these handcuffs immediately?
Sit back here.
Okay.
All the way in. I just want to log him and get him out of here because people were concerned because he was.
Put him in custody. If he's gonna walk away, don't let him play that game. He's just gonna keep playing it next time. He's gonna think that he can now just walk away from cops. If he doesn't want to stop, he just doesn't have to.
That's because you don't have to. These 2 officers are completely ignorant of the laws of their state and lack the proper field training and knowledge of laws and ordinances to be operating independently with a gun and badge.
So he was sitting right here, and I just said, "Hey, there was a concern for you. Why?"
Officer Ray proceeds to turn off his body cam before he reiterates his perspective to the other officers. This is why it is important to film any interaction with the police yourself, because you have no control over what is recorded or not recorded and whether or not it is readily accessible. Never trust police officers to properly document any interaction, and always be vigilant about your right to record them regardless of what they say. Today, Officer Ray gets a big fat F for failing to know pretty much any of the laws of his state and pursuing an illegal detention and arrest. Mr. Hill gets a B- for knowing his laws and ordinances, but also allowing his ego to cloud his judgment and ultimately get him arrested. Mr. Hill was officially charged with harassment of a public official. A jury quickly acquitted Mr. Hill of that charge, and as usual, the West Des Moines Police Department conducted its own investigation into the matter and found that its officers did nothing wrong. And for that, the West Des Moines Police Department gets a big fat F as well. Let us know if there's a video you think we should audit in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more police interaction content.